Hi, I'm Jonathan Weinberg. Today I'm going to review the Sheaffer Calligraphy Set. I've been doing a bunch of these reviews of the calligraphy sets. I don't think this particular set is no longer, it's not in production, but you can find a lot of these on eBay very, very easily and very inexpensively. I mean, I got this one for less than $20. It opens up with the window, and you can see that there are 3 pens and 3 different nibs and many different color cartridges. Now my guess is some of these cartridges may be a little bit dried out because this is an old set. Sheaffer is making a newer set that to me doesn't look as good as this, and I like these sort of classic no nonsense style. That's the name of the pen style pens that it comes with this. And it opens up, and inside there is a whole bunch of stuff. You get a grid that you can put under the, they give you a pad of paper, actually quite a lot of paper, you know, given that it's just an introduction. And you can put the grid under the paper. The paper is thin, like almost like tracing paper, and therefore use it to guide you in doing calligraphy. And it comes with a book as well. And I will look at that under the camera. So it comes with this book on how to do calligraphy, which is really quite extensive in comparison to even the Lamy set or the pilot set. I think this is a more extensive introduction. I mean, it's not immense, but I think it's quite nice. And again, for somebody who's young and just starting out, I think this is pretty good. Now, keep in mind, I don't do calligraphy, but if I did or was starting to learn calligraphy, I think this would be pretty good. Particularly, I like the way that it gives you this guide that you put under the thin paper and allows you to use this as a guide for doing the different pens. And it actually has a guide for each for the 3 different pen widths, so medium and broad, which I think is pretty cool. And what you could do is you could scan this and then put it on your computer and print out paper as well. I think that's pretty smart. And here's the pad of paper that you get, which is pretty cool too. I think that they give you that as well as the pens. And here is the set of pens that you get. And the pens, these no-nonsense pens, are really beautiful. I had one of these going all the way back to, around the time I was in college. One drawback about the pen is that they take cartridges. They don't come with a converter. There is an aftermarket converter that actually, I believe, works with this pen. This is one of the script cartridges, and they're, you know, they just sort of, you attach them very simply. They go onto this here. You can put them in the pen body barrel, and then when you screw the nib in, it actually enters into the cartridge, or you can, put the cartridge on first and stick it in. That also works. And these script cartridges work quite well. I always feel that their black isn't quite black enough. And the other thing to do is you can empty one of these cartridges, or when it's done, and then use a needle like this to fill it with ink, and that's another solution. And then I think they also can be eye dropped, which they're actually really nice pens, particularly for how affordable they are. They're translucent, and they use, as I say, a cartridge. And the other thing is they post very, very well. They're light, but I always found them very attractive, and as I say, I'm kind of nostalgic because I think they started making these pens in the 70s. The no-nonsense pens go way back, But the translucent version of them, I think it goes back to the 70s. I'm not sure about that. If anybody knows, they can write in. But they've been making these for a long time, and I think actually now they stopped making them. But there are so many that you can get used on the market. Some of them have a more kind of rubbery top here. Some of them are translucent, but I really always like them, and I particularly like these translucent ones. So what I'm going to do is I will do some writing samples, and I will also do a drawing. I think I'll do another drawing of my cat Severus, showing the different nib widths. This is the fine. Sort of sped this up, because I didn't think it was that indicative, really, of how to. I don't know how much you would just use these pens for writing. The fine you could use to write with, I think, just regularly. It's not too wet. It's fairly smooth, actually, for an italic stub nib. Doesn't do much reverse writing. This is the medium. And this is really smooth, which is very surprising. I would say this is sort of equivalent to 1.5 stub, I guess, maybe a little thicker. And the fine would be like a 1. And this is very fat. This has got to be bigger than even a 2, I would say. And this doesn't, isn't very good for just regular writing, but is good for doing sort of medieval calligraphy. And also, as I use these for drawing, I like the big contrast between the fine, the medium, and the thick. Here's my kind of pathetic attempt at trying to do calligraphy. You notice I have 2 H's for some reason. There, so that was the fat. Here is the medium. As I say, the bold, medium, and fine. It's a nice contrast between the 3 different line widths. Here's my cat drawing. I started off with the fine line, and which I think draws actually quite nicely, expressively. And then I switched to the medium, which of these 3 pens, for some reason, is the wettest and smoothest writer. And this works really nicely. And I really enjoyed drawing with these pens. Here, of course, is the thickest. The thickest line pen had the biggest problems. Although, even though it was a bit scratchy and skipped, it had a kind of quality that is almost like a brush, and gave the drawing a more expressive quality, I think. And I think this is a very exciting way to draw with the 3 different weights of fountain pens. Here I'm back with the fine, think I come back in with the medium a little bit later. Oh, here's the fine again, sorry.